Hey everybody, welcome back to the RAS Learning Curve segment. We're still in our series of how to win at DFS College Fantasy Football. We come in now today with tip number 5. Tip number 5 is going to be make sure you have a Twitter account and make sure you're active following players and news on Twitter, especially late Friday or on Saturday. Big reason is a lot of the beat writers are going to be the ones that break the news before anybody else, and a lot of times that news it doesn't really hit the mainstream until it's too late. So, if you have any players who are questionable coming into the game, what I do then is I have a Word doc or an Excel doc, and I have a list of players that I'm potentially going to play that I know are questionable and I don't know the injury status. And I fire those names up, and then I'll run searches on a program like TweetDeck or Hootsuite. I'll just plug in a bunch of players. It automatically is going to search for those guys in real time. So anytime information comes over in those particular players, we're gonna be able to know about it. So that's kind of the way that I utilize Twitter to be able to find out about late breaking news on players who are injured or possibly suspended or being benched. The reason why it's critical, especially in college fantasy football, is you got to remember these guys are kids. They're 18, 19, 21 years old. And a lot of times what happens is you got parties on Thursday night, you got parties on Friday night, and a lot of times guys, happen to, have a few too many, get in trouble with the law, and then end up suspended for that Saturday's game, and then you're scrambling to try to figure out who you're going to play. So just be aware that a lot of times kids do get in trouble in Thursday and Friday nights, drinking parties at bars, etc. They get suspended. A lot of times that news comes out late. A lot of times it does come out after the game starts. So just be aware that's going to happen. I got burned several times last year by players who were suspended that nobody knew about, and it was not published on Twitter until after the game went off. So there's just not a lot you can do about it. Do the best that you can in making sure that you do your homework and follow everything. The good news on something like that is that, listen, if the news comes out after the game tips off, then there's not much you can do about it. It means everybody else is in the same boat. So you just hope it doesn't happen. You're starting quarterback, and that way you can overcome it. But again, be available on Twitter, whether it's on a cell phone or whether it's on your computer. Make sure you got access to Twitter. Look in the Phil Steele handbook that we talked about in tip 1. There's a bunch of people that Phil Steele recommends that you follow. Those are all national beat writers, local beat writers, people that follow college football. So make sure you're plugged in, you're tapped in. Build yourself a list of all the college fantasy football people you need to follow. And that's our tip for today. Tip number 5 on how to become a winning, successful daily fantasy college football player. Join us back here again where we talk about tip number 6, how to be a winning DFS college fantasy football player. Thanks again.